design.
So what are some design trends that you guys are seeing out there that you're maybe like not too sure about?
How about some design trends that I wish would go away, like
Okay.
the white, silver, and those lights that you just know that they bought for the flip.
Yeah.
The light fixtures. You just know. You
Yeah.
go walk in there, you're like,
Has no
"Yep, that's a flip."
personality.
Yeah.
It's just,
It's in every single house. They're all
I
identical.
just saw the one right down
I
the
don't know. It's
street.
classic though. I mean,
Yeah.
Classic
The
circa
white.
the past 5 years or the past 7 years.
I don't know, but like, what are your thoughts when you walk into a house and you see like the navy blue island with like the gold handles? So you're like, oh, that's really pretty, or
Yeah.
like, ooh, that's gonna be outdated in 5
that's my
years.
exact thought, because I'm like, God, I love navy blue as like a design, but I'm like,
Yeah, gold is out, has been out. I don't see it really coming back.
Dude, gold's back.
Yeah.
I would disagree.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about wallpaper?
Wallpaper's back.
Wallpaper?
I
So
see that
trendy
coming.
right now.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like old, crazy wallpaper too,
Yeah.
like polka dots. And,
I just feel like the wallpaper, like all you're doing is like you're kicking the can down the road because in
Yeah.
5 years when it's out, you have to rip the wallpaper down, and it's such a big,
Have you ever tried to
different
take
process
that
than
stuff
painting.
down?
Well, but
Yeah.
there's different types of wallpaper now.
Right.
You got like the peel and stick where you can add a little bit like flair where it's not gonna rip off the walls necessarily
Yeah.
and take down.
That's-
Or Alex's story. Go ahead, tell the story.
So we put up some really pretty wallpaper in Addison's nursery.
Oh yeah.
And then one day I'm sitting on the phone in there, and all of a sudden I hear this noise, and it starts coming down off the wall. Thank God I
Like a
had like
ghost.
some pictures, and it was like didn't fall into the crib, and I was in there,
Yeah.
and so I like messaged the people I got the wallpaper from. They're like, oh, we don't recommend putting it in a nursery, in a kitchen, in a living room.
On a wall.
Any of the walls where you use
I
it
was
at
like,
home.
so where am I
Any
supposed to
vertical
put
surface.
this?
Yeah.
It's
But it
actually
was
called
beautiful.
"Don't Put It Where You Live" wallpaper.
Yeah, it's funny.
So, but now if you
Yeah.
do the peel and stick, definitely make sure you put like a little nail in the corners to like
Okay.
make sure it stays there and
To
doesn't fall
secure
down.
it,
So peel and
That's a good
stick.
idea, because I just had a client literally say they were gonna put the peel and stick in their nursery.
Yeah,
so,
Yeah,
do
so do it in the corners.
I know a lot of people have been doing that.
Yeah.
We walk into houses and see wallpaper that's old, and they go, "Oh, that looks cool. We probably want to keep that." And I'm like, "What is happening with the wallpaper?"
Yeah, but like it used to be when it started coming back a couple years ago, it was like very like classy, very like
Yeah.
subtle. You're like, oh, is that like paint on there? Is it
Yeah.
textured? But now it's like the bold,
Circus tent.
bright.
Yeah.
Especially in powder rooms, people are getting like very vibrant.
Yeah.
Another topic, Zillow price reductions. I've heard you guys talk about this a little bit in kind of some of the team meetings. We're just hearing it from people. What's your take? What's the word on the street with price reductions?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when it comes to pricing out the homes, especially lately where we've been seeing an increase in price reductions, homes staying on the market, total days on market going up a little bit, sellers have to keep in mind that they have to focus on what the list price were for the comps, because maybe the sales price is up $25,000 in the neighborhood, but it's because they started here, and that's how they got there. So they just have to keep in mind, like, you can't just go at the top and then it's not going to have the flurry of offers to make that threshold.
All right. Any other thoughts?
So
What's
it's
your-
My thoughts with this is when my buyers go and look on Zillow and they see these sales price coming down, they are confusing that also with home values are coming down. And those are not the same things.
Yeah.
Because I tell them this data is built off of stuff that was going for crazy amounts over 3 months ago, 4 months ago. The homeowners still think that they can sell it for this much over, and in this market that's not happening. So they see these decreases happening on Zillow, and they think these homes aren't worth it anymore. But everything we're seeing shows that home appreciation is still going to be 10%
I mean,
this year.
the buyer disconnect is the same thing as the
not the
realtor
same.
disconnected. Realtors a lot of the times are still thinking, well, I can just throw a price up there and see what sticks and get 10% over.
And used to
So,
be able to
so
do
they're
that.
overpricing it now. The market already shift, but they're not being as nimble as I think that we are, and the people that we're talking to are. So like, if you price the house right, it's not going to sit, and it might increase in value, for a list price.
Did you say you just had 30 offers or something on a house?
Yeah, so I had a buyer we showed this past weekend, and she submitted an offer on a house that had received 34 offers, and I believe that probably went $75,000 over list price.
That's crazy.
Sold over the weekend, and so it was real quick. However, the neighbor across the street, and I know exactly where they got their pricing, and this is what I was talking about. The neighbor across the street sold for $475, so that's where they got their list price, and it went up. But if you try to push that pricing, you're not going to get 34 offers.
What was that house across the street originally priced at?
It's a good question. I forgot.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what that was.
So-
Yeah,
Well,
but touch on Oprah's point too, though. I mean, I think the world the consumer thinks that, and unfortunately this is just not the case in our industry, that the real estate professional is truly a professional. And I'm just going to put it out there. Most of them aren't.
Well, it's because the barrier to entry is so low.
Yeah, I mean,
unfortunately.
let's just be real. I mean, if you don't know a realtor or don't have friends that are realtors, like, you don't have any friends, right? I mean, it's a super common, hey, I'm going to get this as my side hustle. And what I have learned, and I guess I was just so naive that I didn't think that was the case, but agents just do whatever their sellers tell them and pull a number out of a hat. And there's not data driving it, there's not guidance given. And so I think a lot of it, what you were saying earlier, is like it's not necessarily a price issue, it's an agent issue too, right? I mean, if you're not working with a strong agent that understands what's going on in a market that's moving right now, you're doing yourself a disservice, in my opinion. So,
And I think a lot of the price reductions are coming from, you put a house in the market, you could have priced it correctly to start with, you're getting, a solid offer, you maybe could have even gotten multiple offers, but buyers are getting cold feet. Whether it's truly cold feet, their life plans are changing, or they got to move by an inspection report.
Interest rates.
But they're they're terminating, and now sellers are like, okay, well now I have to refresh my listing. Going and putting it back on the market as active may not necessarily be good enough. So they're just they're doing a $5,000, a $25,000, whatever price reduction just to get it to pop back up again to show to other buyers like, hey, look, we are serious sellers. Like, we do want to sell.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Especially if you need a place to go and they want like 30 or 60 days.
Yeah.
That's pretty pivotal to have a part of their contract. But if you push pricing, the less leverage you'll have, so you more than likely might not get that perk as a seller.
Cool.
Great.
Owning a home, good investment?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, especially
No
now,
brainer.
with rent being up.
Certainly in Atlanta.
Anywhere actually came out with a study, I think it was yesterday or today, saying that if you bought a home 3 years ago, you have $125,000 in equity average.
I think owning a home is one of the best ways to start building wealth.
Yeah. And
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think we all obviously believe in the industry. We believe in it. We're all homeowners in the room. We support our clients in buying property. At the end of the day, I've seen so much wealth creation from home ownership and that world,
Well,
hands down.
yeah, I mean, well, it's that stepping stone into your future. I know people are like, oh my gosh, interest rate, it could be 6%, 7%, 8%, but the interest rate on a rental is 100%.
Yeah.
So,
You're paying somebody else's mortgage.
exactly.
Right.
And profit.
And then on the other side, like for investment properties too, I mean, you can get all this passive income. You have to deal with the tax situation because it's income coming in, so you have to offset it with certain expenditures. But it's just a great way to have passive income to I guess like a side hustle, and you can continue to build your wealth.
Funny you mentioned on that, because I just came back from a conference, and one of my big takeaways was investment properties and income producing properties. And I'm guilty of it. Like, I'll fully disclose, like, I have not helped my clients enough generate wealth, right? Most of our clients will buy their primary residence, they'll raise their families there, they'll live there very happily ever after. They'll move a few times here and there. But then they put all their money in the stock market, or they go put their money elsewhere, right? So they go put it in the market or wherever else you're going to want to put it into, you name it. But what we don't do a good enough job, and I don't do a good enough job, is sitting down and having those conversations about how you can create generational wealth by buying property. Like, if you have a little bit of extra cash on hand, rather than going into the stock market, which is pretty volatile right now, let's have some conversations about generating some wealth. I mean, great ideas, and I'm by no means a tax person, but especially if you have children, talk about like college future. I mean, if you got somebody else paying the house off for you, and then after 15 years you got a debt-free asset, that's real money.
Right.
I mean, the other part of it too is, let's just say you had $500,000, and you wanted to. No, let's not use that. Let's use $100,000. You got $100,000 sitting in your account. You've done well for yourself, and you want to go join the stock market game. $100,000 today in the stock market is worth how much? Does anyone want to guess? $100,000, right? $100,000 cash.
Are you thinking about like yielding?
No, you're not a trick question. 100,000, you're gonna write a check and you're gonna invest in the stock market. You got $100,000 worth of stocks, right?
For today.
That could go up or down.
Well,
That's
for
the
this
gamble.
It could be night tomorrow.
That's the gamble. If you had $100,000 today and you brought that into the real estate spectrum, that could be $500,000 worth of home ownership or home investment opportunities. You could take that $100,000, slice it and dice it into quarters, and buy 4 different properties, right? And so there's so much more wealth that you can create on the investment side, and I just don't do a good job talking about
Like
it.
conveying that to clients.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
long-term wealth.
it's a
because like you sit
long-term
on it,
game.
you get the appreciation, plus you get the income. The income pays off your mortgage, and eventually that turns into just straight cash.
I
But I don't want to deal with it, right?
Well, I think some
wanna
people are
maintain
overwhelmed
it.
by 2 properties. So there's the move up too. Like you bought a $200,000 home, you know, you made $50,000 on it over a period of time. So then you take that $50,000, you put it down, you buy a $400,000 home, and you continue to move up. So that when you retire, you may be in a $2 million home. You can sell off, so you've got $200 million, you know, sitting in the bank that you can use for your retirement.
I would all of 200 million.
Yeah,
but I got you.
Sorry, you know.
No, I got you.
Yeah,
just-
so
you
you
just
have
roll-
the
you just
buyers
roll
who
the
are
Biden.
taking the original home, keeping it as an investment property.
Yeah, and you know, it may be more than you need, or maybe, you know, you're moving into another, like, maybe more expensive area, but it's money that you're putting in, you know, into something
That's going to grow at a
building.
quicker
Yeah.
rate than where you could probably.
It's,
Yeah.
it's a conversation about the hassle versus the reward. I mean, it's okay. I mean, sure, putting in the stock market, great. It will. It's going to do what it's going to do. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. All you got to do is read the paper, or you know, look on TV. But you know, the house is definitely going to be more of a hassle. It's going to be more work. But in the end, it's going to be much more. It's going to go up, regardless. I mean, unless crazy stuff happens.
Well, especially if you got somebody paying the bill, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as long as it's covered. I mean, you could make the argument. I mean, I have some clients that'll be like, "Well, I want this income." Who really cares? As long as it's covering the expenses. I mean, if it covers the mortgage on it, if it covers the taxes, it covers the maintenance. In 15 years, you got an asset that's got no debt attached to it.
Right.
That's
Well,
a win in my
I
book.
think it's important to figure out, like, you know, what are the people looking for in that investment property?
Sure.
Are they looking for that quick flip? Are they looking for a rental that's going to give you 6, 8, 10% return? They're going to sell it in 3 to 5 years? Or are they looking for something that they're going to hold on to for 15, 30 years? They don't care if it makes any money for
Yeah.
now, as long as it's not losing the money.
Right.
So it just depends on what the individual
Yeah, I
It
mean,
could
I
be
think
like a
goals are.
retirement plan.
Yeah, I mean, I by no means am I a tax person, so wherever this video may go, don't hold me responsible. I did not come up with this strategy. You know, one of the ideas I heard the other day was like, you know, again, coming back to the kids, just because I have 2 girls. If you have a 529 savings plan and you're saving for their education in the future, I don't think, and again, don't quote me on this, I probably should research before I put this out there, but you can take that 529 investment that you've been saving for and pay for their room and board, right? So part of their education is room and board. Well, if they go to college at the University of Georgia, buy yourself a nice little property in Athens,
Yeah.
let your kid be there, that 529 is going to pay back the LLC that owns the investment property,
Interesting.
good income.
Yeah.
You're,
Yeah.
you're paying yourself back
Yeah, that's
essentially.
smart.
So
That's-
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of creative ways to do some
Yeah.
of this stuff. So I guess we just need to have more conversations with clients
Right.
about, we have some opportunities that we're not educating you enough on. Let's have the conversation.
Yeah.
So
Smart.
cool. That's all I got.
Yep.
No,
Cool.
that makes sense.